Attention F1 fans, welcome to F1 Max. Are you curious about how much your favorite F1 driver is earning this year? Look no further, F1 Max has got you covered. In this video, we'll take a look at the salaries of current F1 drivers, from the bottom of the pile to the top earners. F1 drivers are among the highest paid athletes in the world, and their salaries can be mind-boggling. So gear up for an exciting ride through the world of F1 driver salaries. Sure, it can't be great to be the lowest paid driver in Formula 1, but the two guys tied for last are still making a ton of money. It is estimated that Yuki Tsunoda and Logan Sargent are the two lowest paid F1 drivers, making just $1 million in the 2023 season. Poor guys, how do they survive on just $1 million a year? They may be the lowest paid drivers, but it is still a nice salary. But what will particularly annoy Yuki is that his rookie teammate Nick de Vries is making double what he is. Despite it being Yuki's third season in F1, his teammate already makes twice as much as he does. That's gotta sting. Along with Nick de Vries, Lance Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg, Oscar Piastri and Zhou Guanyu are also on $2 million for the 2023 season. You might think that it's just the less experienced guys who are near the bottom of the pile when it comes to F1 driver salaries, but this is not the case. In fact, Nico Hülkenberg is one of the most experienced drivers on the F1 grid for 2023. Despite that, he's making the same as the guys who are still in karting, when he made his debut in the sport. One of the more interesting drivers to have a salary of $2 million is Lance Stroll. You would have thought he would have been on a bit more money, but it's gotta be awkward trying to discuss a pay rise when your dad is the boss. Also, I would imagine that Lance's teammate will be the one taking most of the money from Aston Martin. Oscar Piastri being a rookie and Zhou Guanyu still being early into his F1 career means those two won't be earning a huge amount in F1 teams just yet. $2 million a year is a huge amount of money, but I'm sure these two have got to be very jealous of how much their teammates are making. Alex Albon is next on the list with his current Williams contract, estimated to earn the former Red Bull driver $3 million per season. He is much more experienced in Formula 1 than his teammate Logan Sargent, so he's earning a lot more. But Williams still don't have a huge amount of money to spend, and therefore Albon is 13th on the list of highest paid F1 drivers. Three of the F1 midfield drivers are all making $5 million for the 2023 season, with one of those drivers being a surprise. Pierre Gasly is making $5 million in his new contract with Alpine, while Kevin Magnussen's return to Haas has also landed him $5 million for the 2023 season. The driver that will surprise you is Fernando Alonso. The Spaniard is the most experienced driver on the grid and is currently taking Aston Martin to the podium at the start of this season. It may not seem like it, but $5 million is a bargain for a driver of Alonso's caliber. Crazy to say that $5 million is a bargain, but Aston Martin are certainly making more money than that from Fernando. Considering he's on the same as Pierre Gasly at Alpine, you would also assume that Fernando took a pay cut to move to the Silverstone team. Looks like a pay cut that was worth it for Alonso. As we start to get close to the big earners in F1, there are a couple of guys getting paid handsomely, thanks to their high potential in the sport. Esteban Ocon is making $6 million in the 2023 season. Being a French driver with a French team like Alpine means Esteban is also a big commercial draw, and it is why he's paid so handsomely, making more money than some of the more experienced members of the midfield. He's making just slightly less than another driver who came through the Mercedes Academy. George Russell is making a pretty nice $8 million in the 2023 season, which has got to be a pay rise from Williams. You can see why George was so happy when Toto Wolff told him he was getting the Mercedes seat. Who wouldn't cry when you're being told your salary's going to be $8 million? While George is still earning nowhere near as much as his teammate, I'm sure he won't have any complaints. When Valtteri Bottas left Mercedes, you might have thought he would have stopped being one of the top earners in F1. But the former race winner is earning 5 times what his teammate is. Yes, that's right, 5 times his teammate. Bottas may be incredibly experienced and incredibly fast, but 5 times the salary of his teammate is crazy. For the 2023 season, Valtteri Bottas is earning $10 million. You can see why Alfa Romeo have been slow at the start this season. They've spent all their money on a driver. If you wanted to know how much Bottas is earning, it's actually the same as Red Bull's second driver Sergio Perez. The Mexican has a contract with Red Bull until 2024, and this contract also earns him $10 million, the same as Bottas. Perez can certainly survive on $10 million per year, But that seems like chump change when you find out how much his teammate is making. As we're going in ascending order, you're going to have to wait to see how much Perez's teammate is making. Along with his Red Bull salary, Sergio is the fourth highest paid driver from sponsorship deals, netting $3.2 million from his sponsors Clarko, Telcel and Telmex. If you go to Mexico, it's hard to find a billboard without Sergio Perez's face on it. When Carlos Sainz chose to move to Ferrari, the most successful and historic team in Formula 1, you might have thought he'd be earning a lot more than the man he was leaving behind, Lando Norris. But this is actually not the case. Sainz is the fifth highest paid driver in F1 in 2023, earning $12 million per year with his current contract with the Scuderia. Sainz is actually the third highest paid driver on purely endorsements, as he has deals with Estrella Galicia, PlayStation and Shiseido Men, which adds another $3.7 million to his income. An impressive salary for sure, but Lando Norris is still earning quite a bit more with McLaren. Norris is one of the fastest drivers in Formula 1, and there have been plenty of rumours in the past of him making the move to Red Bull or Mercedes in search of a faster car. So McLaren decided the best way to tie the young Brit down was to give him a truckload of money in his new contract. Lando Norris is earning a whopping $20 million in 2023 with his McLaren contract, which runs until the end of the 2025 season. So he's making $8 million more than Carlos Sainz. But it is probably Lando's teammate who's the most jealous. Lando is making 10 times as much as his teammate. McLaren have likely been so slow at the start of the 2023 season because they don't have any money to spend on the car. Most of the money goes to Lando. This massive contract makes Lando Norris the fourth highest paid driver in all of Formula 1, with some very big names below him on the list. Charles Leclerc is Ferrari's golden boy, with the Scuderia believing he's the man to take them to the F1 Championship in the future. They've put a lot of faith in Charles, as well as a huge amount of financial investment. The Monegasque is earning $24 million in the 2023 season, double that of his teammate Carlos Sainz. With Leclerc being the faster driver, it's no surprise that he's the one making more money than Sainz. But making twice as much as his teammate could cause some problems in the future. Charles actually makes less from endorsements than his teammate, only taking home $2 million from his deals with Richard Mille and Armani. Once Leclerc starts delivering those world championships that Ferrari are looking for, his salary might get close to the man in second on this list, Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is earning $35 million this season. Not only is Lewis one of the fastest drivers in Formula 1, but the commercial value he adds to Mercedes is huge. Even though Max Verstappen has won the last 2 world titles, Lewis is still really the face of the sport. He is the most recognizable man in Formula 1, and so while his salary with Mercedes is $35 million, he's earning a hell of a lot more than that every year. Lewis has sponsorship deals with Tommy Hilfiger, Bose and Puma. All of those endorsement deals are estimated to be worth around $15 million, which is by far the most of any F1 driver. So despite being the biggest name in F1, Lewis Hamilton is still not the highest paid F1 driver. Considering he's the reigning 2-time F1 world champion, it should not be a surprise to anyone that Max Verstappen is the highest paid driver in F1 in 2023. Max has a huge contract with Red Bull that lasts until the end of the 2028 season. It is by far the longest contract currently in F1. Not only that, but it's also by far the biggest, with Max earning $55 million this season. $55 million is more than the 13 lowest paid drivers combined. Yeah, that's right, combined. Max makes more than over half the grid combined. He makes more than 5 times the amount that his teammate Sergio Perez makes. Red Bull are clearly certain that Max is the man for the future, considering how much money they've given him. Verstappen certainly looks like the fastest driver on the grid, and so I guess it is only right that he's also the highest paid driver on the grid. Max also takes home around $6 million from sponsorship deals. Verstappen currently has endorsement deals with Jumbo Supermarkets, G-Star Raw and Carnex.com, which make him even richer. So, did you realize that F1 drivers were making so much money? Why not put your thoughts in the comments below? While you're down there, why not hit the like button and subscribe? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.